Manacaparu is an important fishing port in the Amazon, and Jeremy's first chance to get out in the river and flex his rods on some Amazonian fish. It's here that boats throughout the region call in to trade fish and fishing stories, an ideal place to pick up information on the giant arapaima. But first, Jeremy needs to find himself a local guide and boatman.
Oi, is that Josimar? Jeremy.
For the past 3 generations, Josimar's family have worked out of Manacaparu. With his intimate knowledge of the river, skipper Josimar is the perfect choice to help Jeremy get his sea legs.
Yeah, he's just finishing fixing the motor, and he's going to give me a little trip out on the river here to get me started.
With the waters of the Amazon still at their peak and the fish widely dispersed throughout the rivers, lakes and flooded rainforest, knowing where to look is half the secret. Josimar takes Jeremy to visit local fisherman Narciso, who's just returned from a fishing trip, for a few tips on where to cast his first line. Ever eager to find out about the arapaima, Jeremy cannot resist grilling Narciso on the chances of catching one of these monsters.
Não há possibilidade. Existe muita água e talvez alguma possibilidade, se houver, é em alguns lagos longe daqui.
Muito longe.
Muito longe daqui.
No chance at all. Not in the river, lots of water, but maybe in a lake a long way away, huh? Lago bastante longe daqui.
É, bastante longe daqui. Pelo menos 3 horas de viagem daqui.
At least 3 hours away from here.
Pega algum peixe aí.
Not impressed by his over-eagerness, Narciso's got just a fishing spot for an Amazonian rookie like Jeremy.
There's a sort of floating abattoir downstream with sort of bits of offal and dead cow and stuff floating down, bits of dead fish. And he's saying that even somebody who's actually new to the area like myself might stand a chance. The kids fish there, and even though the water's high, we should have a chance. So let's give it a go down there.
For Jeremy, being sent down to the abattoir is hardly his idea of the wilderness experience.
So there I was in England a few days ago, thinking I was going to be tripping over anacondas and watching jaguars wandering around amongst the lush vegetation. The reality is I'm sitting downstream from a floating abattoir where they're chopping up bits of cow, and instead of the wonderful, beautiful, huge pirarucu, we're fishing for something called an armoured catfish, which goes scavenging on bits of dead meat on the bottom of the river.
Under the watchful eyes of the abattoir workers, Jeremy casts out in the hope of hooking an armoured catfish. And it's not long before Jeremy gets his first bite.
Look at that.
But it's not putting up quite as much of a fight as he would have liked.
There we go, how's that? That's the remains of a fish that's floated down from the abattoir upstream. So first fish of the Amazon, wonderful. Yeah, I think I'll put that one back.
Having overcome this dent to his pride, Jeremy at last hooks into something that feels a bit more lively.
Off we go. Yeah, there's something on the end there. So I think this one might even be alive. Ah, this is a tiny baku, a tiny one. Swing him in, I think. Oof. There we go. My first live fish. Right, most catfish, you've got to be careful of these spines on the fins. And so normally, if you just grab them behind the spines, you're okay. But this particular fish has got a nasty little trick. I won't demonstrate with my finger, but I'll demonstrate with that. They trap you in there, you see, so you don't grab it there. And they grunt. Right, this fish is called locally a heki heki. Has no common English name, but the reason it's called a heki heki, let's see. It makes a noise. It sort of says heki heki to you, if you've got a good imagination.
Tem peixe, por exemplo, como a piraíba, peixe muito grande. Semana passada, o filho de
Though Jeremy's first catch might not be an Amazonian heavyweight, Josimar is keen to impress on Jeremy that appearances can always be deceptive.
He's saying a friend of his just this last week fell in the water at a little town near here, and never came out of the water. And this was just last week, last Thursday.
Abandoning the boat for the safety of the abattoir, Jeremy's luck seems to be improving.
It's a weird looking thing, isn't it? I think this is another heki heki. It's not, it's the same general idea as what we were trying for. It's a smooth catfish with bony plates down the side, but they're not large bony plates, they're quite little, and they've got almost like hooks facing backwards on the edge, so it's a fish you've got to be a bit careful with when you handle. Yes, well, this fish may not score very high on the size scale, but on the weirdness scale, I think it's got to be a winner.
Isso aqui não é um pirarucu, mas a gente tem que começar com alguma coisa, né?
Com certeza. Yeah, he said it's not an arapaima, but we've got to start somewhere.